Hi, I'm Norma. Another successful quarter. The Meridian chain is thriving under your leadership, Marcus said, sliding a stack of financial reports across my desk. His voice carried its usual steadiness, but today there was a flicker of something more. Admiration, perhaps. Thanks to the whole team, I replied, brushing my fingers over the photo of my late husband James. His bright blue eyes smiled back at me from the frame, a constant reminder of the man who had built this life with me. These numbers would make him proud. Before the ache in my chest could deepen, a burst of energy swept into the room. "Mommy, look what we made." Emma and Ethan, my 6-year-old twins, barreled in, their faces alight with pride as they held up their latest masterpiece. Their father's bright blue eyes sparkled back at me through theirs. "They're beautiful sweethearts," I said warmly. "Why don't you show them to Aunt Bella? She's in the conference room." As they dashed off, Diana, my best friend and legal advisor, poked her head in. "Norma, do you have a minute? We need to discuss the new property acquisition." Running a luxury hotel chain hadn't been my dream when I married James Mitchell. His father had built the Meridian empire from the ground up, and after James's tragic car accident 2 years ago, I found myself thrust into the role of co-owner alongside my sister-in-law, Isabella, Bella to everyone. "The board meeting's about to start," Bella announced, striding into the room with her husband Robert. She set down a folder, her polished smile hiding something sharper. "I've made some adjustments to your proposal." "What adjustments?" "We agreed on the terms yesterday. I think we should reconsider the expansion into Miami. The numbers don't add up." There it was again, another subtle dig. Bella had been my rock after James's death, helping with the twins and guiding me through the business. But recently, there was a shift, a tension between us. "The Miami project stays on the agenda," I said firmly. "The board already approved the initial assessment." Bella's smile tightened. "Fine. By the way, I've reassigned some of your key staff to the Chicago property." Without consulting me, my voice sharpened. "I'm the CEO, Bella. Those decisions need my approval." "Just trying to help, dear. You've seemed overwhelmed lately, with the twins and everything." Robert shot me an apologetic glance, his eyes filled with a silent warning. He'd been doing that a lot lately, like he knew something wasn't right. That evening, as I watched Emma and Ethan play in our penthouse apartment above the flagship hotel, an unsettling thought gnawed at me. The Meridian legacy was James's gift to our children, and I had to protect it. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that Bella wanted more, much more. "Mommy, when is Aunt Bella coming to play with us again?" Emma asked, her innocent question piercing through my thoughts. "Soon, sweetheart. Very soon." If only I had known what those words would come to mean. A brewing storm. The next morning, Marcus stormed into my office, his usually calm demeanor shattered. "Norma, we need to talk now." He clutched a stack of papers, his face pale. "These numbers don't make sense. Look at these transfers from our main accounts." I scanned the documents, my stomach twisting. Millions of dollars were missing, siphoned through a labyrinth of shell companies. "All these accounts are under Bella's oversight," I whispered, my voice hollow. Before Marcus could respond, Karen, my longtime assistant, entered, her expression uneasy. "Mrs. Mitchell, several department heads asked me to inform you that Miss Isabella has called an emergency board meeting. Without you." "What?" My pulse quickened. "She can't do that." As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from the twins' school. Emma had fallen down the stairs. When I arrived, the nurse explained, "Someone called, claiming you authorized them to pick up the twins early. We refused and Emma got upset." That night, Robert appeared at my door, his face drawn with worry. "Norma, I need to tell you something about Bella," he said, his voice trembling. "She's not sleeping. She's making strange phone calls at night. I found gambling receipts." I stared at him stunned. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because," Robert swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper, "I'm scared." The breaking point. "Please don't let her know I told you," Robert pleaded, his voice trembling. "She gets explosive when she feels cornered." His words haunted me all night, but I had no idea just how quickly Bella's madness would escalate. The next morning, Ethan's allergic medication went missing, right before he suffered a severe reaction. If Diana hadn't been visiting with her spare EpiPen, things could have ended tragically. "This isn't a coincidence," Diana said firmly as we sat in my office later that day. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. I did some digging. Bella worked at 3 companies before marrying Robert. All 3 reported major fraud cases right after she left. And the evidence? It disappeared. Every time. I didn't have time to process Diana's revelation before the head of maintenance knocked on my door, his expression grim. "Mrs. Mitchell, we found something strange in the twins' playroom. The window safety locks were tampered with." My heart plummeted. Within hours, I had cameras installed throughout the penthouse and my office. That evening, I uncovered something even more disturbing. Every senior staff member had received emails, supposedly from me, about my stress-related issues and erratic behavior. "She's trying to push you out," Diana warned. "This isn't just about power anymore, Norma. I think the twins are in danger." I stayed up all night reviewing security footage. At 3 a.m., I froze. Bella, in my private office, accessing my computer, copying files. The next morning, Emma's innocent voice shattered my fragile composure. "Mommy, why was Aunt Bella in our room last night?" My blood ran cold. "What do you mean, sweetie?" She was standing by our beds, Emma whispered, eyes wide. She looked scary. This wasn't just about the business. Bella wanted everything, and she didn't care who she hurt to get it. The security company called shortly after. Someone had tried to disable the cameras in the twins' wing. The evidence was mounting, but one wrong move and I could lose everything, or worse, someone could get hurt. I glanced at my children, blissfully unaware of the storm closing in. I needed proof. Real proof, and I had to get it before Bella made her next move. The inferno. "The Tokyo deal isn't worth your personal attention, Norma." "I can handle it," Bella insisted, her smile flawless but her tone sending chills down my spine. "I've already booked the flight," I lied. "I'll be back tomorrow night." Instead, I switched flights and returned early. My security team texted about unusual activity in the penthouse. Bella had arrived unannounced. As I stepped off the elevator, the smell of smoke hit me. Then I heard the screams. "Mommy, help, we can't get out." Heart pounding, I raced down the hallway. Smoke seeped from under the door next to the playroom. I grabbed the handle, it wouldn't budge. "Emma, Ethan, stay away from the door. Security is coming." Poor Norma, always rushing back to those brats. I spun around to see Bella emerge from the shadows, eerily calm. "You should have stayed in Tokyo," she said, her voice cold. "What have you done?" I demanded. "The key, Bella. Now." "You still don't get it," she sneered. "I had it all planned perfectly. A tragic accident while Mommy was away. I would have inherited everything, the business, the properties, even their trust funds." The smoke thickened. My twins' coughs grew fainter. "Security, break down the door." I screamed into my phone. Bella laughed, the sound chilling. "Just like James' accident. Cut brake lines are so reliable." "But Robert, he couldn't keep his mouth shut about that one. Could he?" Time stopped. James's death. It wasn't an accident. The reckoning. Later, at the hospital, as the twins were treated for smoke inhalation, the police uncovered damning evidence in Bella's private office. Detailed plans, forged documents, and photos of the twins' routines. She had been planning this for months. A detective approached me, his expression grave. "Mrs. Mitchell, we found something else. Documents about your husband's accident. Surveillance photos of your children dating back months. There were previous attempts. The accidents. The missing medication. The tampered locks. It all made horrifying sense. We've got everything we need now," he continued. Text messages, security footage, financial records, Robert's testimony. I looked at my sleeping twins, their innocent faces still bearing traces of fear. For years, I'd shared my life, my home, and my family with a monster. But no more? "No more playing nice," I whispered, gripping Emma's hand. "She tried to kill my babies. She murdered their father. She's going to pay for everything." The cost of betrayal. First, I had to make sure my children were safe. I didn't know then that Bella's attempt to destroy us would lead to her own spectacular downfall. And it wouldn't come from me at all. Package all the evidence and send copies to every relevant authority. Diana instructed her team. Financial crimes. Attempted murder. Everything. While Bella sat in jail, awaiting trial for the fire, an anonymous tip landed on the FBI's desk. The rabbit hole went deeper than anyone imagined. international money laundering through our hotels. I sat across from a federal agent, stunned. Your sister-in-law was working with dangerous people, he explained. She used your properties to launder millions for gambling syndicates. Then Bella's world truly began to collapse. Her so-called friends in the gambling world turned on her the moment their money disappeared. That crazy woman took us for millions. One of them confessed to save himself. The feds uncovered offshore accounts, fake identities, and years of elaborate schemes. Robert, finally breaking his silence, filed for divorce. In his testimony, he revealed everything. She bragged about killing James, he admitted, his voice cracking. Said it was so easy to tamper with the brakes, to make it look like an accident. She laughed about it. The evidence was overwhelming. Not even Bella's expensive lawyers could save her now. Guilty on all counts, the judge declared. The defendant is sentenced to 25 years without the possibility of parole. I watched as Bella was led away in handcuffs, her once polished designer image reduced to prison orange. She screamed obscenities, blaming everyone but herself. The aftermath. 5 years passed quickly. The twins turned 11, growing stronger and wiser from our ordeal. Without Bella's poison, the Meridian empire flourished. We opened 3 new properties, including a resort in Tokyo, ironically the place Bella had tried to send me that fatal day. Last week, I received a letter from her prison chaplain. Bella was begging for forgiveness, claiming she had changed. I didn't need to read past the first line. I tore it up and tossed it away. Mrs. Mitchell, your next appointment is here, my assistant called. I smiled at Emma and Ethan. Come on, kids, time for your first real board meeting. As we walked into the conference room where Bella once plotted against us, I saw my children's excited faces. They were alive, safe, thriving. James would be proud. The empire he built wasn't just surviving, it was growing. And his killer? She was rotting in prison, forgotten by everyone who once feared her. That's the thing about karma. It always collects its debts. Sometimes you just have to be patient and let toxic people destroy themselves. I turned to my twins, ready to learn the family business. Ready, Mom? We'll make it even better than before. And we did. That's what real family does. We build each other up, not tear each other down. Bella learned that lesson the hard way, from behind bars. But what would you do if someone you completely trusted, someone who helped you through your grief and played a loving aunt to your children, was secretly plotting to murder your family? Could you ever forgive them? Even years later, when they beg for forgiveness from prison.